Hello friends and welcome to a vlog that I am honestly surprised I have not done yet. As you guys know, I have two dogs. They're the light of my life. They are my world. I love my pets. You guys have seen my pets many a time and it makes no sense to me why my pets have yet to pick what I read for a week. So this week we are going to have Oliver and Finley pick from some options for me to read. There may also be a little bit of a surprise at the end. I'm not entirely sure if it's happening yet, but like, it's in my pipe dream. We'll find out later. Anyways, let's talk about our first pick. I really would like to focus on new releases, and honestly, hi, are you guys playing right now? Great timing. Oliver likes to sound like a car that goes vroom. I don't know, whenever he plays. So if you ever hear like growling in the background, it's good growling. He's probably just tugging on something. Anywho, I really want to focus on new releases this week. In particular, the two new releases that I think I want to start with. Number one, we have Princess of Blood by Sarah Hawley. I read Servant of Earth a couple of weeks ago and loved it. However, the ending of the book was absolute insanity. And I was so grateful that I did not read it when it first came out. I waited a little bit till closer to when book two came out because I need a book two immediately. And here we have it. So I'm really excited about this one. And I'm kind of hopeful that Oliver picks this one first. However, I don't have this book physically. And I'm kind of like, what book shall I pick to make him pick between? Like, I need a physical representation here. Okay, we have a hardback that's kind of similar in size. Not Fury Song. However, I do need to read this at some point. I really desperately want to read Red City by Marie Lu. Marie Lu is an author that was one of my favorite authors growing up. I remember reading the Legend series and just absolutely loving it. I don't know if I ever actually finished book three, now that I'm thinking about it. Book one and two, obsessed with. The Young Elites, I also really liked. Also, did I finish that series? I don't know. But that is an author that I have read a lot of YA from, and I'm so beyond. I love it when people do adult fantasy romance debuts. Like, I need it. So Red City, it has been on my physical TBR since the moment I heard a breath about this book in the world. So if Oliver does not pick this book, I won't necessarily be sad because I will get to pick Princess of Blood, but like also, I may or may not continue to put this book in every single round and watch it still won't get chosen will be my luck. So we shall see what Oliver has to say for this one, though. Either way, I'm excited. So pretend this is Red City. I'm very hopeful. Either of these options. So Oliver, where are you, bud? We gotta talk about you, buddy. Buddy, thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. I'm probably choosing a really bad time to start filming this because the boys are starting to play and I'm taking him away from his playtime, but we have important things to do here. So I grew up with dogs. I always knew that whenever I became an adult and had big girl money, I was going to have a multi-dog household. Like, look at this. You can't tell me that this is not everything. So I, like most people in college, had kind of a really rough time of it. Certain times more rough than others, but in this particular time whenever I got Oliver, I was having a very rough time. I had been looking at every shelter and every rescue in Lubbock. I do get allergies with short-haired dogs sometimes, so I knew I needed a little long-haired buddy, and I couldn't find one. And then I ended up doing a study abroad program, which still the most incredible experience ever. Mostly, I also was really having a hard mental time for a lot of it. And so one of the times that I called home and I called my mom and I was like, I'm in Spain, but really I'm in pain. And it was a joke that many of us used, but it was a good joke nonetheless. And so she was like, well, I do have a surprise for you. And I said, She said, well, I know that you have been looking for a dog. I called your roommates and I found him. And I was like, hello. So that is how I got Oliver. Oliver was actually a surprise. Thank you. Oliver was actually surprised, and so whenever I got picked up at the airport from a month and a half of not being at home, which for homebody me was so incredibly difficult, I got to have a little puppy dog guy. Hi, editing me jumping in just to say, Oliver, I didn't even tell you what his breed is. His mom was a three-legged Lhasa Apso, and his dad was a random, like, half Jack Russell, half weenie dog. So if you know anything about those breeds, putting them together, that describes Oliver. That both of them were astray. She had already had one of her legs amputated, and they both got collected by the rescue at the same time, and lo and behold, she was pregnant. So shout out to Mother Nature for creating a Lhasa Jack-a-weenie, because that's exactly what this world needed. He's a very sweet guy, though. He just has small dog energy. So Oliver has been around. He's given me many hugs, many of an emotional support. Thank you. Emotion support he has. What are you looking at? Like, what is he doing? Can somebody tell me what this face is? Cute minty. Got him. So let's find out what book we shall be reading. May the best Minty win. I'm gonna go ahead and give Finley his, just so he's out of the way. That's good. Sit. Easy peasy. Nope. I did not say jump. Sit. Lay down. Nope. Lay down. Nope. Lay down. Oliver, good boy. Finley is the one who just like wants to spaz out and does not like to do the actual tricks. You say pretty? Ah, what was that? Oh, good, so pretty. Can you jump? Good job. Can you praise the Lord? Can you lay down? Good boy. Can you say peace? That's a good whisper. Can you say peace? Say please. Lay down. Good boy. Wait. You chase tail? Good boy. You chase tail? Nope. Chase tail? Good job. Okay, I think we're situated. Leave it. Okay. Okay, we have a winner. I don't know if it was just the amount of running around that I had to do to go find the Minties and then to get Finley situated and all the amount of time and the effort and the back around the excitement that was happening here. And then for Oliver to just immediately pick Princess of Blood. Iconic. Hello friends. Okay, so I am approximately, I want to say like 80 pages into Princess of Blood. Okay, some thoughts. I'm obsessed with this book, and I think what is throwing me off so much, so I'm reading this book physically, and it is the mini, like smaller hardcover. I just think that hardcover throws me off so bad because it feels like it's closer to like a YA book than some like bigger adult romantasy. Does that make sense? Like, does anybody else feel that way? Because right now I keep getting shocked about certain things that are happening, and I just keep being like, oh, wait a minute, we're going there. And I have been finding myself giggling, hee-heeing, and kicking my feet. So if you don't know what Servant of Earth is, which is book 1 in this, is it a trilogy? I don't actually know how long the series is going to be, but Servant of Earth by Sarah Hawley. And we have a human girl who basically gets, not really kidnapped, but kind of kidnapped into the Fae realm, and she ends up becoming a servant for one of the Earth House members. And then come to find out there is a trial that they have to kind of compete to the death the Fae do to gain their immortality. So one of the Earth House members is currently competing for her immortality, and our female main character is being made to help in that process. So I literally just read book 1, loved it so much. The fact that I'm actually picking up book 2 immediately, not really immediately, but like pretty soon after reading book 1, I think is partially why I'm liking this so much. However, I am kicking my feet at the moment. I'm seeing things that I really want to go certain directions. Will I be disappointed because I'm just fangirling over here? Mayhaps. Yeah, you know, me expecting something else that's gonna not happen in a book. What's new here? But I'm really having a good time with it, and I'm so glad that this is the book that we're starting with because I feel like my attention is really being grabbed, so thank you to Oliver. However, we have some news here. I wasn't really sure how I was going to approach this topic, if this was even going to happen, what was going on here. However, you'll notice here I'm at the Loves here. I'm actually in Oklahoma in Texoma because I'm getting a Bernedoodle. I'm so excited. I only have so much time before I officially meet the breeder, so we'll go into a little bit later, like why the whole, like what has brought us here to this point. However, we're getting a girl Bernedoodle, and I'm wasn't sure that this was going to happen. I literally did not think this was going to happen until quite actually last night. And then it was like kind of at like 10 p.m. and I was like, wait, what is happening here? But I'll tell you more about our new little family member once I actually acquire her. I'm mostly decided on the name yet, but I feel like I need to see her in person to decide on the name officially. However, I'm so excited. And is she going to be able to pick a book? I don't know. We're currently on Oliver's book, and then we'll give Finley his chance to talk about his book, and then we'll let our girl pick the last book. So hopefully by the time that it's time for her to pick a book, I will have her at least trained enough to at least sit. So, TBD on that. However, let's go meet our new family member. Hello. Okay, friends, we have some introductions in order. Oh, hello. Thank you so much. You guys, this is the sweetest dog ever. Just like look at her. She just wants to hug you. So Hi. Are you watching? Are you watching my weirdo? Can you turn the other way? Look at this dog. Is she not just the most perfect, precious angel that has ever existed ever? Are you a perfect, pretty angel? Yeah. Okay, so I've officially decided on her first name. I don't know her middle name yet, but she gives Elliot to me. Okay, listen, Oliver, Finley, and Elliot. I feel like it works, but she's gonna go by Ellie. So you like this way better? Okay, so this is Ellie. She is the sweetest dog ever. She's so confident. She's very smart. She is very chill, but also still really playful. Like, she's just a good puppy. And I know that's going to change because she's a puppy. And we've not even gotten into the real puppy stage yet. She's still just a cute little baby puppy, but she is 9 weeks old. She is ready to fall asleep. So I brought her home Saturday. I introduced her to the boys at my parents' house because I knew that they would probably just do better meeting a new dog in a house that wasn't their own. And the introduction actually went really well. I was a little nervous about what Oliver was gonna do, how he was gonna think, but he's been just fine. He's actually been really obsessed with her, and so has Finley. It's taken them a couple days to warm up, but now that we're a couple days in, I think they're into her. They started playing together a lot last night, and I was like, yep. We can keep her. So I picked her up Saturday, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna stay the night at my parents' house and give them extra time before we came back to home, but I decided to go ahead and come home Saturday night. So Sunday, we just spent all day. I was really gonna get up and be productive and do a whole bunch of things. I was gonna listen to an audiobook, things were gonna be really productive, and then I just looked at this puppy and I was like, listen, I feel like she needs a hug. So I took a nap Saturday with her, and then it was one of those days too where I was just so sleepy because by the time we got home at midnight Saturday, but I also had to stay up long enough for her to go to the bathroom after drinking all that water, so I decided to go ahead and feed her anyways. So we fed her after her car sick. She only got car sick thrice, which is, par for the course. We also had to drive almost like 4 hours with her, but she did really good in the car, so I think she's gonna be my farmer's market little buddy, which I'm so excited for. But I'll tell you a little bit more about her story and why I decided to get her all that good stuff whenever it's just actually her turn to pick her book. However, I'm currently 250, I think 2 pages into Princess of Blood. You guys, I'm getting really good feelings. I'm giggling, I'm kicking my feet. I do think that this is not necessarily the most unique story that's ever been told, and I think you could definitely compare it to one specific book series that I think we're all thinking of. However, I don't really care. Like, I'm just having fun with it. And I think that was something about Servant of Earth. I keep getting the names. Like, I know what the names are called, but I keep trying to say them in different orders. Servant of Earth, book 1. I liked it so much. And it was just similar to other stories that have been told before, but it was done just a little bit differently. So far, that is the exact same thing that's happening. So Kenna is being made to make a decision in this book about something. And the decision, I feel like we're going to keep going with that. I really hope that does resolve it, but that is my only issue with this book so far. She's learning so much information, and as a result, we are too. The romance is getting a little interesting. Like, it's just going in a direction that I did not anticipate. The character relationships that are springing up are really fun, and also the court politics that are happening. I want it to be more character driven than it is politics driven, but at the same time, this is really balancing a lot that's happening here. I really like our female main character at this point. I'm having fun with it, and it's reminding me of why reading is fun. So things are going really well for me at the moment, and we're just having a good time. So I will check back in with you. Sorry, this lighting has been really weird, and also this camera angle is really tall at the moment. Sometimes I forget how short I am, and then I can't actually include any of this shelf, and then also this has been crooked this whole time, but at least there was a really cute puppy. So we're doing great. I feel like this was a vibes 5-star, but also just a 5-star at the same time. This was definitely a right book, right time. Is this book perfect? That was a big yawn. Or a baby yawn, really. Is this book perfect? No. Were there flaws with it? Yes. Were there things that maybe I could pick apart if I wanted to? Yes. But do I want to? No. Because I just kept finding myself kicking my feet. And I have put a bigger focus in the last couple weeks in my brain about books that make me enjoy reading. Books that make me enjoy reading are the kind of books that I want to obviously be reading. And that's exactly what happened. Like, I was kicking my feet. I was giggling along. I was so invested. I was like, oh, wait, this is happening. And then one of my favorite, you guys know, I love a training trope, but then there's a specific micro trope within the training trope that happens. I was blushing. I was giggling. I was down bad. But one thing Sarah Hawley is going to do is write an ending, apparently. I would say that Servant of Earth was a little bit more crazy, but at the same time, No, I wouldn't. No, literally, no, I wouldn't. This was definitely crazier. Something that I enjoy about this book is that I feel like we are still learning more about the world, but it is doing so in a really fun and interesting way, because I felt like the pacing overall was still really continuous, because we're still continuing to pick up things after things after things. Kenna is still new to this world. She is still figuring out what's going on. She has no idea what is happening. She is learning not only her place in this new world, but also like what she wants it to be, technically speaking, but who she is and what her morals are in this new environment and what her goals are. And she definitely takes a long time in this book to make a particular decision. Do I wish that the decision had been made faster? Mayhaps. However, I think that the justification for why the decision took so long, like the kind of resolution to that decision, was incredible, and it made so much sense. And I do think that that maybe was a minor complaint for me, but I also was just having so much fun with all the other things that were happening. We had so many relationships that were happening. There was so much world development. There was so much world building, even continuous still, even though I felt like in Servant of Earth, we got so much of that info. So overall, I really just had so much fun. I had so much fun with this book. I'm so glad that I read it now. I do think that, I mean, I'm okay. I finished this last night. I feel like I have sat and processed on this an evening, and I'm okay, but I need book 3. Like, I need it. And I think if you're someone who's like, wow, that looks like a silly little, like, what even is that? I do not love the little mini hardbacks. This did not give little mini hardback energy. Okay, do you know what I mean? Like, it gives more dark, there's a lot more trigger warnings in this, I guess is what I'm thinking, than this even looks like. That, like, this doesn't give Under the Mountain, if you know what I mean. But this gives Under the Mountain in a lot of ways. So anyways, I had a lot of fun with this. This is a 5-star, and it is now time for Denene to choose our next read. Finley, who you can see napping away right here. Finley, his government name is Finley Jude. He does go by Denene. Obviously, his name is Finley. We then would call him Finny. And then as he was prancing around, we would go Finene, because he was just like such a prancy little guy. So now he's Nene, and now he's Denene, because he is like the Nene. So Nanegan over there, because his name was also going to be Finnegan, but I just said he was more of a Finley than a Finnegan, but Nanegan is what we also call him. I feel like his name is just very easy to nickname, and also he just gives nickname energy. Like, he just needs a nickname. The guy needs to be Finny, and he needs to be Denene. Are you really mad at me that I'm holding you instead of letting you go one-on-one and play and have that little wall hide that you keep trying to steal from Ellie? Yeah. So Finley's little backstory here while we're sitting so cozy. When I had gotten Oliver, I'd always knew that I wanted a multi-dog household and that I eventually would get another dog. But what I wasn't prepared for was how quick. So I'd actually found him and his brother on a local, like, lost and found pets page. And the more that I found out about him, the more that I was like, you're immediately coming home with me, because we found out that he was 3 months old, had had 0 vaccines, and had been eating cat food, because according to the owner, it's basically the same thing as puppy food. What? And so the more that I just kept finding out, the more red flags that were just kept popping up, and I was like, he needs to get out of there. Like, he's coming home with me. Approximately 3 months after I had gotten Oliver. They're not from the same litter at all, but because they grew up so close in age, they are also basically the exact same height. Finley is a little bit skinnier because he does have some poodle in him. And his dad, according to the pet parents, was a Shih Tzu Chihuahua mix. So he's technically Shih Tzu Poo, but like, who's counting? Anyways, he's a very sick guy. Oh my goodness, wow. But Finley also was raised around his dad, his mom, a couple of their other like family dogs, and then him and his like brother and 2 sisters, I think. And poor Finley here was basically made to fight for food, and so he just became, instead of the I'm gonna fight for food, he was like, I'm just gonna sit back over here, guys. So he's just a very submissive, hi buddy. He was very starving. He was a very, very little, very skinny little puppy. You know, the cute little puppy belly that most puppies have? He did not have. But I was very intrigued to see how well he was going to pick out a book for us, because sometimes he does really, really great on his obedience training. Other times he just gets so excited that he just like doesn't want to do a single thing that you say, because he's so just like excited to get the treat. He was trained, he was doing all the things, and he still knows all the things, but when he was, I think, like 6 months or so, was when the big 2020 events happened, and I went home and quarantined with my parents. My parents' dogs are not fast trained. So I think he lost a lot of the training and that didn't really stick very good, but he knows what to do. He just sometimes doesn't know how to do it. So for our next pick, I was kind of waffling between several different options, but we have Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. Now, I did pre-order the signed edition, and why I did that, mostly because it was the signed edition. I have a lot of mixed feelings towards her YA novels. Like, they are so cool, and there's so many lines that I was just like, ooh, but they do take a little bit more brain power for me to read, because the way that she writes and the way that she crafts stories, like, she could just say something, but she says something, but in the most like roundabout, really cool, creative way. There's so much creativity to her writing that I generally am somebody who reads before bed. This is not really a before bedtime read. Like, it just, there's a little bit more brain. It's a little bit more of an active read than a passive read, which is great, but that doesn't tend to always be like my preferred style of book. So I made him pick in between this and between Red City. As you can see by this beautiful, lovely slow motion here, he did choose Alchemy of Secrets. So I am currently about 22 pages into this book. It's really interesting so far. The way that this story is told is through, there's a second person, I don't know exactly what it's called, but it starts, I thought at first it was just going to be a prologue, but it seems to be alternating between every other chapter. I don't know if that's going to continue throughout the book, but it starts with this like second person situation, chapter 1, second person, chapter 2. So basically this world is a very lush, very Art Deco, very roaring 20s feeling world, but it's set in current timeline. So we have what is called Folklore 517. It is a course. It's a little class, okay? This is kind of like more of like an underground secret society style kind of class in which you have to just happen to like know. You have to have the word of mouth to know that this class even exists. So this class studies local legends and urban myths. So you kick off the very first prologue with a second person. You are sitting in a theater waiting for this class to begin. You're still waiting. You're waiting. Is this even happening? Should you even be here? I don't know. I'm still waiting. You're still waiting. And all of a sudden you see the professor on the stage. And that's kind of the whole vibe of the prologue. So you're very much so put into this world very from the get-go with that perspective, which I do think is actually really interesting, especially combined with the writing. You're kind of really immersed because not only do you have the you perspective, but Stephanie Garber's writing is just so immersive. Then we switch to chapter 1 and our female main character, Holland, I believe is her name. Yes, Holland. We get some glimpses into her growing up in which her dad would always do treasure hunts and different hide and seek kind of little puzzly things. So her whole life has been oriented towards, ooh, question, ooh, that's weird, let's figure it out. So we meet her when she's on like her third date with some guy, and she sees different signs that point towards a legend known as the Watchman, and she's sitting here thinking, hey, is he, I don't know, is this real? Is he real? I believe in this story, but is this actually going to happen if I actually explore him? Is that going to be, am I going to find the Watchman? Am I going to find the Watchman? And the Watchman is someone who in this world tells you when you're going to die, like the time that you're going to die. So she sees a little sign on the street and then she keeps poking. So they keep walking down the street and they happen upon a building. They go into this room and they find basically, think like the Watchman's concierge, his secretary, if you will. And she's like, you guys are fools. This guy that she's on a date with is literally just being drug along here. And he's kind of like, okay. And she's kind of like, okay. So they meet the Watchman, and I'm at the point where they have now met the Watchman. I know he's going to tell them some details based on the synopsis, but what is still overall really impacted me about the story is that we're trying to accomplish this Art Deco, really showman style, performative class, this environment, this world, about all these stories, and it's really hitting. And I think it is because of Stephanie Garber's writing style. She could just say, wow, there was an Art Deco looking crown molding. She would write like, I didn't even know that I liked Art Deco until I saw this design, and it's just so interesting. So for me, this is not really a bedtime read. This is definitely, like I said, more of an active read, but I'm really enjoying the way that it's scratching my brain at the moment. It's almost giving like Greatest Showman style at certain points. It's very performative. We're going to do a show. We're going to do this whole thing. It's going to be kind of magical. We're talking about some myths, things that kind of go bump in the night, but that we don't know that exist. We don't think they exist. They do. Hey, guess what? They're real. So I'm enjoying that so far. Anywho, this is going well. This is our next read for the vlog. Thank you to Nene, who is very peacefully sleeping away. What are we coughing about?
We're currently in the
right now, just in general.
Let me see everyone's nose.
Okay, Mariah, tell us about the spread here.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to my Twilight book club.
It's beautiful. You did great.
Thank you. The theme is romance and
I love love.
edge.
An edge. Perfect.
Edgy.
Excellent.
Edgy.
Uh-huh.
That's what they yes.
An edging.
Edge. Edge. Anyways, got a bat right there. You got the apple because you know the whole.
Do it. Oh, wow. What a model.
Yeah. Thank you. Grapes for Casey. Yeah, Casey brought this. Casey, what is this again?
Coffee cake.
Coffee cake.
It looks really
delicious.
good.
It just smells
But the
amazing.
little tongs are so cute.
It smells like cinnamon, roll.
Yeah. It's essentially
so
a
good.
cake. Yeah.
And then
I do love a
pizza
cinnamon roll.
because he eats that pizza in the cafeteria with
Hey, Mariah.
One bite.
that one bite.
A plus.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just trying to give you something spooky out to for you. I'm just trying to give you something. I'm just trying to give you something spooky out to for you. I'm just trying to give you something.
All right, I have made it to somewhere along the 72 page mark. I'm a little conflicted with my current thoughts because on one hand, I'm really intrigued. There's a bit of a mystery plot that's kind of going along. And this whole time she has been in this class learning all of these myths, these legends, these things that that have these really funny stories that are totally proven. And then she has a new advisor that kind of swoops in while she's working on her thesis. And he says, well, girl, I hate to tell you, but your professor's a liar and everything you know is a lie. All of the things that you're telling me about these myths, the Watchman, all this business, that's not real either. That is in fact a lie. It's a lie. Everything you know is a lie. It's a lie. Meanwhile, she leaves that conversation and she is yet again being given the evidence to the contrary. So I've started to hear people talk about how this book basically gaslights you, and I'm seeing it. I love the kind of push and pull that we're getting between what we think is real, what someone else is telling us that is real, versus what we as humans in our current world know this is real. That doesn't really seem to be the case, but then you're thrust back into these POVs in which she is learning those things. There's so much evidence, contra evidence. There is just a lot of back and forth that's happening, and I think that is really interesting. However, I'm not at the moment really being drawn to Holland as a character, and I think that's currently the problem for me. I feel as if we have a really interesting plot and things are, I mean, really, I was going to say more words, but it all amounts to the plot is really interesting. Holland is a character I'm just not really connecting to, and I think that is the main problem that I'm having so far. I'm having fun. I still want to keep reading this, but there are definite times when I'm like, oh, I am reading that book right now, right? I'm not particularly thinking about this book necessarily, so I'm kind of in this weird midpoint where I'm intrigued, but I also am not necessarily having my life changed by this book at the moment. So I'm going to continue reading it, though I'm not entirely certain as to how much longer I'll continue reading it. I feel as if we're at a... My gourd! Elliot is currently learning how to use the doggy door, and her current strategy is to just throw herself against the plastic as hard as she can, and it results in a lot of sounds. So we're working out some some kinks here. Anyways, so assuming that the plot continues, I still definitely want to continue reading this book, but I'm not just thinking like, wow, this is my next favorite book of the year. What you think? Final thoughts? 5 stars? Looking for more? Yeah. You're all gross now. Look at your little face. First and foremost, no hate towards anyone who loves this book, okay? Second of all, I I'm thinking I'm gonna give it a 2.5. I was not connecting to the characters, but I thought that as the plot started to pick up, I was like, oh wait, this is interesting. Oh wait, this is kind of fun. Oh wait, okay, I'm liking where this is going. And then we get to the end, and I just feel like the ending, spoiler free, of course, it gave no closure on a lot of the things that happened. It kind of put us in a different circle, but it didn't really complete the full circle of the things that we'd been talking about. So this whole time I'm kind of just like, what did I just read? Where did we end up here? Like, what did we learn from this story? What were the benefits? What were the positives that came out of this ending? I'm like, I don't feel like this wrapped up really at all. And I also don't feel like this wrapped up enough to be in a series either. Like, I'm just kind of confused as to where we ended up. I'm really confused as to just a lot of things, and I just didn't ever connect to it. So we're giving this a 2.5. I'm so sorry. I was really, really, really hopeful that this was going to be a book that I just loved. And then it just, didn't, I was gonna say it took a turn, but it never really took a turn, I guess. Just kind of never really took off. Anywho, since we now have to vote. Expected much of anything from this book, or what I was expecting from this, but I'm having a really fun time. However, I figured I would sit down and chat with you a little bit about why I got a third dog, which seems a little crazy, I know, and I'm aware, and I've just accepted my full descent into crazy dog lady territory. So if you have been here a little bit, you probably would have seen Ginger. She is actually my roommate's dog, and my roommate has started the process of beginning to move out. She just got engaged. So Gingy is pretty much no longer around very much. And as someone who works from home, my roommate has worked nights, so I have been around Ginger during the days. I have spent so much of my time having Ginger around that I missed her so much, and I just missed having a third dog. I've been so used to having 3 dogs with having obviously all 3 of them around, even though she wasn't my dog. I had 3 dogs, okay? Then a little bit more backstory here. My mom had technically 2 Cocker Spaniels, but the very first one, she actually got whenever we were all at home for quarantine. So these 2 had that dog as a puppy, and her name is Bexley. I taught her how to sit. I gave like all of the basic obedience training. That dog was my baby. Every time I would go home, she doesn't lick people very often, but she would always get very excited and start to lick me. Like, I love this dog, okay? So without getting too far into details, she actually had an immune system situation pop up, and unfortunately my parents had to make the very hard decision to put her down, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point. And like I said, the dog was my baby. She had the cutest little half stash. She was a white and black party Cocker Spaniel. Love that dog to pieces, okay? Well, my mom and I started looking, just kind of as a joke, as you do. When you lose a dog, your first instinct is either to say, I'm never going to get another pet again, or hey, let's look for the next one immediately. And we kind of went on the let's look for the next one immediately, just because, especially with Cocker Spaniels in our area, they're not like super common. So we just kind of got on Facebook, started casually looking at dogs. We looked at dogs, we looked at dogs, we looked at dogs. And then my mom had actually sent me a picture of Elliot, and she was like, wow, she kind of looks like Bexley. And I was like, what do you mean? And so I looked at the picture, and she had the little half stash. Elliot's little nose kind of almost has a heart looking thing. Bexley's birthday was actually Valentine's Day. Elliot's birthday was August 14th. So there were just a lot of weird things that were coming into play. But for the longest time, for probably 5 or 6 years now, I have really wanted a bigger dog. I'm not allergic to dogs per se, but I do sometimes struggle with allergies around them if I am around them for too long. So having a bigger dog and then making it a long hair breed is just kind of what's gonna work best for me. I have also loved Bernese Mountain Dogs as a kid, and I was like, that is gonna be my dog someday. So I've always had a thing for Bernese Mountain Dogs. I've also had a thing for poodles in general, and then you put the 2 of them together, and I fear that is in fact my dream dog. So Bernedoodles have been my dream dog for a really long time. I didn't think that I could have a bigger dog. I didn't think that I wanted a bigger dog, and I got smaller dogs. And I'm just gonna be so for real with you. After Oliver and his little dog brain, I will never have a little dog again. I need the big dog personality. So just a lot of things were leading me to, that was gonna be my absolute dream dog, pipe dream, if that ever were to be a thing that I probably was never gonna have, but like, haha, so funny, that's gonna be the dog I'll have someday, right? And then I get this picture of Elliot that looks like Bexley, has a really similar birthday to Bexley. Just felt like Bexley was sending some signs. I look a little bit further and come to find out she's a Bernedoodle. Then come to find out, these people only live about 30 minutes from my grandparents. She'd had a pretty large litter and she was going back to school, but then her husband was also about to start corn harvest, so they were really just trying to get rid of these puppies. And I said, hey. I reached out to her initially, about 2 weeks went by, I kind of hemmed and hawed, and I was like, oh yeah, that's my dog. Didn't actually do anything about it. And then I came to the point of, if she's still available by next week, maybe she was meant to be. And then next week came around and she was still available. So then I talked to my mom and I was like, I think I would regret not getting her. I know that having 3 dogs is kind of crazy, especially with one of them being really large. It's kind of crazy, but like, I just think that I would regret not doing it. And you know, we only live, I need a light. Okay, it got very dark. I'm really not used to this whole time change thing yet. I reached out to the breeder again and I was like, hey, I think I'm interested in them. She had told me that the personalities between her and the other girl that I was looking at were really, really similar. And I was like, you know, I think this one's calling my name. And she said, good, because somebody just messaged me approximately 3 seconds ago saying that they wanted her sister. So many things all came together really, really well for me to get this dog. A combination of, this was my absolute dream dog for a very, like, probably my entire life, truthfully. The breeder lived really close to my grandparents. They had lowered the price on her a ton. Things were just really coming together, and I just said, you know what? I feel like every sign from every direction is pointing me towards, I have no choice here. So naturally, I had no choice. So I messaged the family that morning and then brought her home the next day. So it all happened kind of quick in terms of, I made the decision and picked her up less than 24 hours later, but there was many years even build up to actually getting her. I'm so glad that I listened to the universe and that everything fell into the place in the way that exactly as it should, because I feel as if it happened exactly as it should. She gets along really well with both Oliver and Finley, which Oliver is not necessarily the biggest liker of other dogs, and really neither is Finley. He's just kind of indifferent towards a lot of them, but they have been playing together so much. She is very calm. She's very chill. So I am very, very glad to welcome Elliot into the family and to introduce her to you as well. And funnily enough, I had this vlog idea planned for a really long time, and I had actually started this vlog before I had ever reached out to her breeder in the first place. So the fact that I just happened to be filming this particular vlog at this particular time, and now I have a third dog to pick a third book, crazy town. I'm just like, the coincidences are coinciding, which is funny because I always say I never believe in coincidences. So things are just, hi Sissy, are we talking about you? Yeah? Hello, come here, hop up. Yeah, hi. Oh my goodness, wow. Well, she is definitely, she definitely is a land shark because she is that age. She's going through puppyhood, but I do think she's going to be a very, very sweet adult dog. I am so grateful. So grateful. Anywho, since the book that she has picked out for us, I have a couple reading updates for you all. I am approximately, I lost my bookmark entirely. I was using my little jellyfish bookmark from Realmathon, and it really went with the vibe of this book, but then also it doesn't really go with the vibe of this book because this book doesn't give fun, silly, goofy little submarine mermaids. It gives more like dark, spooky horror. You know, okay, like we talk about the ocean, right? The ocean's freaking scary. This, and like the bottom deep dark of the ocean where all kinds of deep, dark, scary ocean creatures go. This is like low-key what this is giving. Now, that being said, take that all with a grain of salt because this isn't a horror book. It is primarily romance driven, I would say. The romance has me giggling, kicking my feet, and I'm having such a good time reading this right now. I am just like, hello, I am here. I am in the world. I'm having a really good time with this because we have a bond between these two characters that is giving like kind of Fated Mates, but being done in a really fun and interesting way. I feel like Fated Mates get so repetitive, okay? And I can't take it after a certain point. Like that trope used to be my absolute favorite trope of all time. And then I just kept seeing it and I kept seeing it and I kept being like, I'm good, thank you. That's enough slices, okay? I'm having fun with every little slice of romance that this is giving to me because the amount of angst, the amount of angst, tension, longing in this book is, it's pretty good, fam. So the overall setup of this book, we have our female main character, Imogen. She is currently engaged to the captain of the guard, and basically she's being given this engagement as like a, hey, you go over there, you sit down, you look pretty, you shut up. Don't like cause problems. Here's your handsome man that you're gonna fall in love with. Great, cool, bye. Need to keep you happy, but we still need to keep you around because we're definitely using you. So she's in this really like toxic, not great environment in this current kingdom. She is a ward of the king who's being protected by the king, but ultimately she's giving much more to the king than he deserves. Okay, he's kind of stinky. He's a stinky little king. Anyways, she has a little meet cute with someone. Come to find out, it happens to be the king of the enemy territory. Okay, and some things happen from there. So there's a lot of I don't want to like you and I can't like you and I can't even stand you. But like, why are you kind of hot? But like, you're my enemy. but also why do I feel kind of butterflies whenever he looks at me? But the back and forth in this book is so incredible. There are a lot of politics that get worked back into this book, and the romance versus the politics, like the romance is definitely a very large portion of the story. The politics, very teeny tiny, like it's very easy to understand, but it's structured in a way that makes the romance feel so impossible. This book feels impossible. I'm like, how are we gonna get through this? Like, can't we just like smile, be happy? Like, can't everybody just be happy here? No, they cannot. So things are going really well for me, and I'm also just like, where's this gonna go? I just want everybody to kiss and make up and be happy and have a good time, and I don't know that they're going to get to have that. And I'm invested. It is never more apparent to me how long it takes me to read a book than it has been now, because I started this vlog and she was a little 9-week little old baby, and now she's a 12-week monster. This dog, she's so sweet. I just woke her up from a nap, so she is definitely in her little sweet era. She is also a demon though. She's figured out how to bark. She has started to turn into a little land shark. She is very sweet though. So while I do think that this dog is a real spunky little demon child, she's gonna be a very sweet dog eventually, once we get through the puppy stage. But I do also keep trying to remind myself that like, hey, she is a puppy. This is the only time she will ever be a puppy. She will never be younger than she is right now. So I'm trying to enjoy, even though I keep thinking I would really love to take her on a walk and work out some of this energy. I can't because she's not had all of her shots yet. However, we do have some reading updates. The reading update is that I think I'm gonna give this a 5-star. I loved In the Veins of Drowning. I just kept waiting to have literally any thought other than, wow, I'm obsessed with this. And I didn't, that thought never changed. So we find out that Imogen is actually a siren in hiding. And I don't think I've ever really read a book with a siren as the female main character. The amount of lore that we get being in her perspective about sirens was just different than I thought it was going to be. I, in my head, really just think that sirens are like, that's a summer thing, right? Like they're like scary mermaids, right? No. She's very much so on land, and she very much was using these powers on land, and her powers translate to just this like dark, spooky, really gothic situation. So while this feels like it should be a summer book, it does not feel like a summer book at all. I think this is a really good spooky season into November, even into December, and literally anytime kind of book. The amount of inner turmoil that Imogen had in every part of the romance here was so interesting, and I do think that was the part of this book that definitely shined the most for me. However, the plot here was also really stinking interesting, and the plot was largely driven by the romance, and I'm still longing, and I've got tension and angst on behalf of Imogen and Theodore, and I do not understand how any of this is going to work, and this just feels like I have to continue reading and I have to continue being absolutely obsessed with this book right now. There is also a subplot of these like undead sirens, and it is a very small portion of the book, but I just thought that the whole lore here was so interesting. The world building was really interesting, the magic system, the characters. I loved all of it. We had so many really tropey moments that didn't feel tropey, but they're tropey moments that just like checked the box for me in a way that didn't feel like we're just doing the tropes here. There were just so many moments in this book that were so good, and I love this book. Like, actually so much, and I wasn't expecting it to. This book was very surprising to me. I thought I was gonna be hee hee ha ha, we'll have a little book club read and it'll be so fun. 5 stars, 5 stars. So anyways, thank you for joining me along and watching me officially become the crazy dog lady that I have always been inside, but now I just have the dogs to prove it. Anyways, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel to stick around for all of the crazy exploits we will continue to get up to in this household. If you've made it this far into the video and wanted to let me know that you were here, leave some sort of a pet emoji, whether it's a dog, a paw print, a bird, maybe you have a bird, obviously cats. I'm not a cat person because I had a scary experience with one as a kid. I wish I could also be a cat person, and I feel as if I would be if I wasn't deathly afraid of them. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night wherever you are, and I will catch you in the next one.